Welcome to Mix Up in Business. Follow me on TikTok at Kanisha Beckett1.
When I watch your video, right, I just want to ask a question before we actually go into what's going on. You stay home with your grandchildren and your kids?
The more I watch the news, is the more I'm convinced that staying at home with my children, staying at home with my grandchildren was the right thing to do. At least until they can talk and tell me what people say, what them do if them touch them. Sit down and talk with your pitney them. I know I go say. I don't have no bills to pay. But you can take no Anton fashion and make things, sell things, grow things, do all kind of things. Worse when you're in the Caribbean. You understand? We have to do better by our kids. We can't run down the moral things, immoral things of society. We can't. We are lose with pitney in the process. Too many of them are dying at the hands of predators now. We have to choose career, money, or
Yeah, when my kids were small, yes, I did.
Okay.
I homeschooled my grandkids for a little bit, yes.
Okay. I wanted to know that. Okay. So you see the violence that's going on in the world, and I want to say in the world,
Right.
it's sad that it's like they're starting with kids. Like I remember growing up and it was like, they didn't use in Jamaica, I'm talking about too.
Mhm.
It's like you used to hear, murders and stuff like that, but women and kids were like not touched.
Right.
Women and kids are always off limit. And it just seems like, what is it that's going on in this world that now they are, it's the women and kids.
Because they're the most vulnerable.
But women and kids were vulnerable back then too. Like, but they were off limits.
Men are being depicted nowadays, and children are being like they're like pawns in the whole thing. It's it's become this world in general has become a grab and take by
Mhm.
any means necessary. People just doing what them want do for survive. Anything them do anything for survive. You can look on the internet right where we there on TikTok, and that will show you the limit that people will go for 35 cents out of the dollar, much less, you know,
Yeah.
much less. Some of them don't have the homes, and then they have television and media, and all of a sudden they see what everybody in the Western world is doing, and that's exactly what they want to do. Those are the things that they want. So what they'll do to achieve those things are imaginable sometimes. And unfortunately, women and children have just become a pawn in the whole thing. Man nor woman nor value woman. How crazy is that? We not value another woman. A man not value we neither. Reggae music or the dancehall music or whatever it is that you hear that they're playing down there, what them call it now. It replicates it, them are, yeah, that whatever them want call it, cause I saw them say it name now. I
Hmm.
can't even understand half of it anymore, so I don't know what to call it. So, but the thing is, it's what they see, it's what they're living, it's what they're aspiring to have, to be. Them see TV once again. It goes back to media. If them never see all of that, some of the things that are in Western world, and then some of the things that we ourselves who live in the Western world care about down there, they wouldn't know about it. Influence is there. So me just feel say, even in back in the days, reggae music was about revolution because that was what we were about back then. So the thing just a replicate the music, them the pitney them just a sing what them know, what them see. The
So you
government no
think,
one know that, want the people to know that, but that's what I think. Some of them are traveling as well. Some of them just TV. Them see things on TV. Them see things in a music video. Have been desensitized from back then till now. what they're willing to allow us to see. Majority of these kids that have cell phone, where them get it from? Them parents buy them this big cell phone and I buy them credit on top of it.
That we're living in right now, the
Mm-hmm.
children need the cell phone. And the reason why I say that is, all right, you see how advanced the cell phones are? You have tracking system on them,
Yep.
so you can't always find your child, right?
Right.
So if your kid need to call you, any kind of emergency happen, the cell phone is needed.
To be honest with you, I believe that when it comes to a certain level of structure, right, opening the kids to something that is open to adult will be something I'm always going to be totally against. You have the same technology, but in a flip phone. Personally, I think kids should
Mm-hmm.
always be paced, but we're not thinking on that level for the most time. You see what I'm saying? You can pace the kids. You can still have a tracking capability on a flip phone, but you take away the smart capabilities, as in going online, typing up things, going on apps, and so forth. Personally, that's one of the reasons why I was like, yo, I'm not gonna have kids because nobody's gonna think like me. Nobody's gonna do things like me. And am I saying, am I absolutely right? No. What I'm saying is that we are coming from a generation we were definitely paced. You understand what I'm saying? And pacing is great for raising kids because you don't want to overwhelm them. Do you know how many kids are checked into psych facilities because they feel so overwhelmed based on what you'd call it now, their thoughts of duty when it comes to thinking that they need to be this age, if you get what I'm saying, when all they need to be is kids. So nowadays you have people that are like, oh no, check your phone. I sent this to your phone so you could have done that. Like, no, 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 no. Let a kid be kid. You understand what I'm saying? Let the kid kids. Nowadays there's just too much, and to me, I can see why by the time they reach college, they're literally spazzed out and full of anxiety attack. The schools then is another one to be blamed, right? When did teaching become a means of earning money? You understand? So
All
you
right.
have the government who step in and they change the dynamic of certain things. You see what I'm saying? Oh, for this school to be an A school, we have to do this. Now you have kids that are just perpetual test takers. You see what I'm saying? So when all of this is all molded now, it's too much personally. When we had the chance to be kids, we were kids growing up. We weren't this generation at all.
All right. In my household, right, I have a 11-year-old and I have a 16-year-old, right, in my household.
Okay?
And both of my kids had Apple iPhone from they were like 6 years old, right?
Okay.
And what that does for me as a parent, we're all connected on that phone. So if I want to track any one of my kids, I just gotta go to find my iPhone, track them. So
Right.
I don't think I will have that capability with a flip phone.
I
Because
like the way you're saying that because your mind, when it comes to a flip phone, is saying that it took away a certain amount of abilities. And that's what I just stated a while ago. Flip phone nowadays, right? Well, let's list the benefit. Screen time. Decreasing screen time is providing better health for your kids' eyes. You understand what I'm saying? That's one. A flip phone does have tracking capability. But what I'm saying is simply this. If we had spoken up for the kids' rights, right, you would see how fast Apple, Samsung would have made flip phones to have a certain amount of capability. Do you notice that even Samsung went ahead and made a fold phone? That's like a folding smartphone.
yes,
Did you
yes,
notice that? Right.
that's
Now
permissible.
think about it. Think about it now. If you give it numbers and
Mhm.
still having capabilities with a camera, right? And the capabilities that you can call like on FaceTime, you're telling me these manufacturers couldn't make a flip phone. Because the purpose of the phones nowadays is once you flip out a phone, they're big enough to be a screen. And the screen is going to tease or tempt kids to waste time on the phone rather than focusing on school. Remember, there's a point in their development where we have to literally counteract the urge to do something sideways. Does that make sense? Right? So what I'm saying is that think of the theory. You're working with the reality as it is right now, but think of the theory, right? We had flip phone and camera phone from way back when, from like 2000, correct? You're telling me the ability to look at someone and talk live could not hold into that flip phone? The answer is yes. That same capability can. And I'm not asking, I'm truly telling you. You understand? But what you're thinking about it is saying that, no, you're going to take away the ability from me. No, I've gotten used to this technology. No, they can. Think about it. If they can literally put a small iPad, remember the iPad mini? Why do you think they can't put the capacity or the capabilities in a flip phone? You'd be surprised. So trust with me I talk. The fact of the matter is, right, we're literally, in a Jamaica, where I say we are force rape our own kids. Trust and believe. You understand? Right? So these are the things. Because you have kids now, them a build profile and all them something just to belong. We are as adults, we are the one who should be governing these things. You understand what I'm saying? Trust on me. And when may I say all of that? Trust on no foolishness may I
I
talk.
think a part of it is the parents. It's us as adults. It's it's like Kanisha said. She have an iPhone, so she wants to stay connected with her kids. She have an
Right.
iPhone, so she make sure so them have an iPhone so they can connect it with it. She not dumb down herself and get a flip phone to stay connected with the
You
kids.
see, you
So
see
you
right there,
understand
someone
what I'm
says,
trying to
no, no,
say?
no. I see where you're saying, but right away, do you notice that you're already trying to put the fact that I meant a flip phone for her? I said no. I said it
No,
would
no,
be
no, 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 my
great
brother.
if
No,
these.
brother. That's not what I meant. Let me just stop you and let you know that's not what I meant at all.
Okay,
Don't take it
what
the
do you
wrong way.
mean?
That's not what I meant. What I mean is that it's like she can stay connected through a flip phone, but she would rather not. So instead of downgrading, she rather upgrade the kid. If you understand what I mean. Like she can
I
still be connected with the children through a flip phone, right? And have like a network between them through a flip phone. But rather than doing that and thinking, Kanisha, don't kill me, and thinking like, let me just do one better for the kids and we just all stay connected. Us, not just her, because my grandson has an iPhone too, would rather give them an iPhone and up them because having an iPhone, like you said, is very stressful. It is expensive. They got to worry about breaking it. It's not as sturdy as
I
okay.
understand clearly what you're saying. My statement wasn't like I don't know if you guys understand what I was saying. I understand what Bumbleclot is saying. Giving them an iPhone is leading them to see much more than what they're not ready for in the world, and that is what's going on.
That's
That is
exactly
exactly
what
what's
I'm
going
saying.
on.
Do you know how
He
many kids access the dark web these days?
exactly,
You see
and
what I'm saying?
so if you can have an iPhone and you want to keep check on the kids after school, dismissal and to track where they're going and coming home and to make sure they're safe. Why an iPhone? Why?
For me, okay, what I like with my how I'm set up, I could click on it and see the movements of my kids.
So
Like my oldest son,
Active
he's a
tracking.
senior.
okay, so you want to have active tracking of them to make
Right.
okay, so that mean in the beginning, I'm not gonna say just you, but in general, we have trust issues.
Yes. We do because okay, you have to remember like, what I was saying. You kind of just got here, hey, but I was saying earlier, like when I was growing up, I had a cell phone too. But when I was in high school, right, I had a cell phone, but I used to walk home from school. Kids were off limits. Woman was off limit. Now they're kidnapping kids. Now there's so much things out there that's happening to these young children, even in school shootings. That wasn't a popular thing when I was growing up. So if I think in my head, maybe it's my mentality, but in my head, if they have the iPhone, I can track their movements. When they're on the bus, I can look, see them on the bus, they're moving on the bus. So I have that in me where I am able to track my
That right there is the imperative part. That right there is the imperative part. Don't take me like I'm insulting you, please.
No,
But
I
that's the
don't.
point.
I
Like
don't. I don't at
you,
all.
like this is the deal. You don't know. Like right now, Apple has something called a tag. You understand what I'm saying? It's like a keychain. You can literally put it on a keychain. You can use that and actively track anybody. They've been using that for a good 5, 6, 7 years now. You see what I'm saying? The point of the matter is, to me, exposing the kids, a lot of people, towards themselves is doing more damage. I believe that if we're raising the kids and allowing kids to be kids, cell phone should not be a deal. Look at how society is. If one parent decide that they're going to get an iPhone, and then the other one who don't have an iPhone, they're making fun of the one without an iPhone. You understand what I'm saying? And that turned into a bully situation, right? Then, yeah, why do you think they came up with uniforms and so forth back in our days? It's because nobody should be picked on. Everybody look the same.
They look the
That way
same,
the
right?
focus is on studies. You see what I'm saying? So when you really think about it, we're being more disorganized, trying to be organized. We're taking the bits of society that is meant to advance us and literally pulling ourselves backwards. You
True.
understand what I'm saying?
Remember, growing up, I could go outside and play. My kids, I'm nervous and scared for them to go outside and play because there's so many things out there. Kids kidnapping, and there's so much. That's something that happened when I was a kid. So me raising kids in this time and age, I don't mind them having the smartphones, but I do have a question though, right? What capability is it that, right? Listen to the question I'm asking. What capability it is that should be taken away from children besides the internet? But we need the internet for the tracking device, right?
No, you don't. That's why I'm saying it's the lack of knowledge from what you're working from. Does a
Okay.
chip, that little ring tag, you know what I mean? Does it have the internet? Do you see where I'm coming from now? Register the tag and the polarity of the chip that is in there, right? It is going to use the internet to track the tag, but the tag itself does not need internet, my
Required.
dear.
Okay.
Trust me on everything that I'm saying. You
Okay.
understand what I'm
Yes, nowadays things things change, time change and everything. And I understand that there's more going on out there in the world with, kidnapping and what you call it now. We have to be careful of the words that we use on TikTok. Mm, when you're taking away the kids to whatever, what you call it? I don't want to use the word because I don't want TikTok.
Understand what you mean?
Yeah,
You
we got.
understand what we mean, right? And I understand that all of that is going on. But at the same time, we have to limit. Okay, my thing is this: their kids are getting the cell phone too early. Too early. And we're giving them access to the internet too early. I should say that. Let me take back. We're giving them access to the internet too early. And they're learning things too early for me from the internet. The accessibility
saying?
the accessibility to the internet should be limited. Other than your homework, you don't understand your homework, and if so, and you want to look up something on the internet, the parent should be in control of that.
There
We
you
have to be
go.
careful. No, you left your 10-year-old. We'll put it at 10-year-old with a phone, and you think that they're doing their homework. Guess what?
Kids always want. Kids are always curious. When we were kids, we were curious too. It's only that we did not
Facts.
have the
Big facts.
accessibility. So they're always curious. They want to know. They want to know why that is happening. So they're gonna search and search. And guess what? These kids nowadays they're born with computer brain. It's not like we have to take 100 years to learn one thing in school. These kids, they're born with a chip. I think they all come with a chip now. So
So I'm sorry, guys. I got cut off earlier.
okay,
My point is this.
so you
I
give
have
them
a
a
watch,
Hold
phone.
on
a
one second.
Samsung watch,
Hold on.
Okay,
So,
so
and a phone.
you give
hold on
them a
one second.
phone. It's okay, but the accessibility and what they can do with that phone, you have to control it.
I agree.
I partially agree with that. The phones come with the settings for parent control. You can control the time your kids go on the phone. It's called Family Link for Androids. I don't know what it's called for Apple. From the age of, I gave my children phone from the ages of 7 so that I could track my children and know where they are in school. And if there's an emergency where they have no access to their school phones, they can reach out to me. I can see what they're doing on the parent section of that phone. So everything is monitored. You can put limitations on those phones through Family Link, and that's an app through Google. Um, yes, monitoring the kids is a must, right? I agree with that. But from the age of 13, there's no more Family Link. So with that being said, they're getting ready to go in high school. So monitoring the kids in high school, you could have a look in their phones, but at that point, they're going to encounter things whether you like it or not, whether they're in your presence or not. Make sure you guide them from a young age, monitor them, let them know the thing, right and wrong, the things that are acceptable, whether it be cultural or just the influences. Do that from a young level so when they're older and in high school and they start get exposed to the things that you can't protect them from and they start asking questions, you just have to be there for them. We can't protect our children for the rest of their lives. You have to rely on the things that you teach them within your home. So you dance abroad, dance the same way yard. You get that with you wanna get everybody from I hope everybody on this platform is Jamaican to understand that saying. However,
Yeah.
we would love to shelter our children to that extent, but we can't because they're going to have outside influences. However, it's what you groom them into wanting to know, to be honest. The phones are highway to everything because it's social media open, the internet open. They are going to touch it. You can't protect them for the rest of their lives. Yes. And I keep saying the same thing over because I've had a conversation like this before and 7 different brothers, 7 different mindset. But for my piece, I do believe you can monitor them up to a certain extent and rely on the things that you teach them.
Hmm.
I want you to start off the conversation for what we are going to be discussing tonight with our crisis that's going on in Jamaica.
So I made this video the other day. I was just a little bit, triggered off and it from all the stuff that was going on with children in Jamaica. Um, and it's not just Jamaica, but because I'm Jamaican, that's the first thing that came to my head, you know? All these young children and the predators, them and them being took and their neck being this and with everything that's going on, I don't have to go into exact details, but I made a video and I was saying that for me, and I'm not saying for every mother, but for me, my situation is that we as parents need to be more protective and responsible for our children, and, you know, be there for them more, until we can't just leave them with any and anybody, until they can talk, until they can speak for themselves, until they've acquired some social skills to recognize social cues and stuff like that. So basically, that's what my video was saying. I think Kanisha has it, that sometimes we need to choose whether we're going to do the big career move or staying home with our kids. That's basically what the conversation we're saying. What do other women feel, or other parents feel, about choosing between a career and, you know, being homemakers for their kids?
The more I watch the news, is the more I'm convinced that staying at home with my children, staying at home with my grandchildren was the right thing to do. At least until they can talk and tell me what people say, what them do, if them touch them. Sit down and talk with your pitney them. I know what I go say. I don't have no bills to pay. But you can take no Anton fashion and make things, sell things, grow things, do all kind of things. Worse when you're in the Caribbean. You understand? We have to do better by our kids. We can't run down the moral things, immoral things of society. We can't. We are lose with pitney in the process. Too many of them are dying at the hands of predators now. We have to choose career, money, or we pick with them.
I want to dive into also the crisis where that video came from, which is the stuff that's happening in Jamaica, right? So when you're responding, you know, about how are we going to protect our children as well, because that's what I want to focus more on. How do we protect our children from what's going on in the world right now in our country of Jamaica? And we all know a couple weeks ago, there was like 3 or 4 8-year-olds who were kidnapped and raped. I don't know if I can say that word. Sorry if I cannot. But, you know, and, you know, these kids are getting, you know, like that little girl who got, you know, slashed in the throat, you know, picked up off the street walking home from school, or picked up at school. You know, how do we protect our children? We talked about earlier about the cell phones, how we can protect them, but how can we protect them now? Because we see in our country, across the world, but we're going to focus on Jamaica because most of us are Jamaicans. How do we protect our children in Jamaica?
Because I understand that it's you're saying that a lot of career parents should see how different can they raise their kids without, you know, having that career. And remember that a lot of single parent in Jamaica, a lot of single mothers in Jamaica. And so in order for them to even send their kids to school, they have to work. And that's where most time you find that those kids are the one that being taken advantage of. Now, I'm gonna say, like, you remember when we were growing up, they used to say it takes a village to raise a child? Is that still going on? I remember when I was growing up, from what I see, my neighbor have a baby, and every neighbor would look at that baby and take care of that baby if the parent have to go somewhere or go to work or whatever. I don't know if that is still going on. I don't know if that village thing is still going on. I know growing up it was happening, and of course you still have, I don't know if I could say the P word, verts, and the P-verts, and you still have MLST or whatever ON going on, and it was not so prevalent.
Story of heinous crime. That's
Pardon
all.
me?
They
He
just put
said
it
put it under
in the
one
category of
person.
heinous crimes.
Right. So we it wasn't so prevalent. All of that was going on, but it was not that prevalent. Now it becomes to me a norm. And how do we fix this? Are we gonna ask the community to look out for each other? Are we gonna ask well, the community is an umbrella of people, which is the school, our neighbors, our family. That's what we need back. We need that guidance from everyone, the family, the whole community. We need to get that community togetherness again, to look out for each other, because we're so busy nowadays doing our own thing, getting that money. And of course, without the money, we can't eat and we can't live or whatever. But we're so busy with the, as Rebel said, with the career and everything. But then we have to look back on the parent, the one parent who have to go out there and feed their kids, to make a living for their kids. I just think we have to get back into the umbrella of community and look out for each other. Because guess what? And on the same breath, we can't trust no one. We have to teach the kids, not just the girls. We have to teach the boys, teach the kids, listen, from an early, tender age. Because I remember what happened to me at an early, tender age. And I tell my kids at as early as they could understand, that if you touch me inappropriately, it's not right. Come and tell mommy or tell daddy. We have to teach our kids that, and teach our kids not to take anything from strangers. I don't know if that was a big thing for me growing up. My mom used to tell me, not even candy. Don't take anything from stranger. So we just have to try and get back under the umbrella of the village, but still look out of your corner of your eye, because you can't trust no
Basically,
one.
listen, we've afforded a lot of luxury, and one of those luxury that we were afforded back in the days was the village mentality. But all of that was diluted by the running of the country. So when we're talking about all these things, I see all of them falling in the category of micro. So when we're talking about micro and macro, we're talking about big and small. Unfortunately, the village mentality is small in comparison to what really caused us to have the village mentality back in the day. You see what I'm saying? The government was much better back in the days in comparison to now. Because you have to think about it, If you raise the prices of things and then you have a lot of people who don't have access to work and so forth, the amount of crime is going to increase. Belly hungry, people are going to rob for eat. It's just that simple. You understand what I'm saying? So when we're talking about micro and macro, we have to give a force to the fact that, yes, this is a thing. You see what I mean? What the people need to do is get up and stand up and force the government to go back under some bigger country rule. So that way them can bring in extra force and deal with the crime in Jamaica. But nobody not going to have that conversation. You see what I'm saying? Right now, Jamaica land is not even owned by Jamaicans. And that's sad. So when you have a whole country now that you don't really own, right, guess what's going to happen? Everybody's looking out for themselves. And hence the dissolution of the village mentality. You see what I'm saying? So if we're going to speak on something, we definitely should look at the micro and the macro effects on how certain things pertaining to the government. And Jamaica, I'm sorry, it used to be independent when things was great and certain things was running the way it's supposed to be running. But now, guess what? Right? It's proven to not be self-sufficient as a country. And as such, you have all sorts of things that is what we would have said out and bad right and all. Talk it truth, really and true. We have with friggeries from a long time, but it ain't this bad. And where we're supposed to be better now, we're actually worse.
Thank you for watching Mix Up in Business. Stay tuned for part 2 of Protecting Our Children in Jamaica. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok at Kenesha Beckett 1.